Hello and welcome to Affinity for Games, my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be playing Ascension, and I'm going to be playing it against the computer on hard mode. So this is on the Android operating device, on the Galaxy S4. It's finally been updated so that it works with the operating system, which is a great relief because I absolutely love Ascension, and I've been wanting to play it for a long time since getting rid of my iPhone. So this is just the base set, Chronicles of a Godslayer. It was the first one ever released. I did have all the previous sets on my Apple iPhone, but unfortunately they do not carry over whenever it is that you purchase download the new version of it for Android. I even tried contacting them about it, but they said there's nothing going on at the moment that they can do, that they'll try to look into it in the future, which really doesn't sound promising, and I don't want to particularly purchase the games again and then have it for free later on down the road. So I'm gonna have to look a little more into that situation to see what's going to be done. So with Chronicles of Godslayer, there's no fate mechanic, meaning when a card is taken out of this center row here, there's not going to be any type of effects that immediately trigger, so it's pretty safe for most of the time just to go ahead and hit play all in the upper left center there, but I still usually don't like using it. Alright, so this is a pretty good first turn to be able to start out. I'm definitely going to take this card. Being able to banish anything is extremely relevant to keep your opponent off their game plans. So I like the Wolfshaw better in this situation, and I'm going to go ahead and take it. It's nice that they both cantrip. They both replace themselves by drawing a card. Alright, and even though there is a ton of monsters in the center row, I'll defeat the cultists for 1 victory point, and then I'll go ahead and buy a mystic. It makes better use of the 3 runes that I had, that way they're not wasted. And also, I really want to get the Emery card out there, the one with the Void. It's pretty powerful and defeats most of the cards on its own. Once again, we're going to have the same exact turn. Alright, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should be able to go ahead and buy Emery now. Alright. And this is a pretty tough choice. The Shadow Star is actually a very good card. It's something that I wouldn't mind to have myself, and I definitely don't want my opponent to have. But also, I want to get rid of some more of these monsters in the center row. That way I can potentially buy some more stuff, since I haven't really been going on the power plan at all. So I think I'm going to get rid of the actual Earth Tyrant. And then just play that out and end the turn here. So another Seer for us is going to be very good. Go ahead and take that first of all. And that is another great card. The key to winning in Ascension is pretty much to generate the most card draw possible. Of course, there's other factors that play into it, but usually you can just straight up overwhelm the opponent by being able to collect a lot more than anybody else by drawing as many cards as possible. Alright, and I'm going to get rid of the Wind Tyrant here. That way, if something good does pop up, the computer isn't really able to buy it. And the computer, even though it is on hard, it usually still isn't very hard whenever it's playing. After you play it so many times, you can definitely see that it develops a certain AI script, and it'll usually make certain choices all the time. And for whatever reason, it's not ever going to take a Arbiter of the Precipice, which is pretty much the best hero in the game. The one that allows you to draw 2 cards and then banish a card from your hand. For whatever reason, It's never been written in that it actually accepts that card. So we got a few good cards going on. We got either the Temple Librarian or the Wolf Shaman, which is going to be the clear picks here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Temple Librarian since it allows me to get more cards and it filters the crappier cards out of my hand. And the Arha Initiate here isn't really a card that I particularly like too much, especially right now since I only effectively have 2 runes or 2 money to purchase anything else. So if I take this card, then whatever is going to flip over my opponent is most likely going to be the one to benefit from it. So I'm actually going to leave it there, and I usually call that card a trap, because most people will take it, and then they'll flip something over, like one of the constructs that costs 6, the Mecha Construct, that allows you to gain 2 additional runes to buy a Mecha Construct each turn, and then that can be potentially backbreaking or so by giving them the edge. So I'll just take a heavy infantry here and try to whittle down some more on the actual enemies that are there. I definitely don't mind picking up the Snapdragon. So a lot of my games as well, I usually trail behind in the actual honor points for the pools that you can actually see. The player 2 has 12 at the moment and I have 7. But usually by collecting the actual heroes and the constructs, I generate a whole lot more advantage and usually win the game. So here we'll just start off by throwing out the Wolf Shaman, that way we can get more choices on something to discard for the Temple Librarian. And actually in this case, I'm going to go ahead and discard the Apprentice. That way I can defeat one of the monsters that costs 5. Unfortunately, the other one that costs 6 that allows you to draw 2 cards, I banished that one earlier. But it's still no big deal. So even though the Sea Tyrant gives us more honor, the Wind Tyrant is basically going to give us the same amount because I'm going to buy that Flytrap Witch as well, which is going to be worth 5 points. Alright, so we'll start out using the Temple Librarian first, getting rid of the Apprentice. I usually like to save the Seer until towards the end of the turn, to see if something good pops up that I can't buy or anything like that is going to appear, and then I can get rid of it and make sure that the opponent doesn't get it either. But the way that the game's been going, the Hydron Cannon, even though it's really awesome and worth a lot of points, it doesn't really look like it's something that the opponent can buy based on the things that it's been taking. Defeat the Trickster. Then 1, 2, 3. We'll have a total of 4. Let's check to see how many Lifebound guys I have. 2 actual heroes and 1 construct. The Runic Lycanthrope is very good as well. So it's a pretty tough choice between the Wolf Shaman and the Runic Lycanthrope. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with the card draw advantage that I was talking about earlier. Alright, let's start out by drawing some additional cards again. And I really love the Flytrap Witch. Chronicles of a Godslayer is one of the better sets that has been released in Ascension. It is much more balanced than a lot of them. Let's see. Most of the time I try to acquire military power, not by picking up heavy infantry, or even heroes for that fact. I usually try to pick it up off the backs of constructs like the Yggdrasil Staff, which is the Lifebound one, and the Shadow Star, which is what the opponent has right here. If you can get Marasma within the first few turns of the actual game, you're pretty set. It's really hard to lose. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. I can't really think of anything that I don't really mind the opponent to copy at the moment if I give up the twofold. So we'll get rid of the Land Talker instead, and then I will buy the Arbiter. It's really late for the actual Arbiter, but still it provides card advantage, and it'll be worth this wait if I get to draw it at least once. That's another thing to really consider, is whenever you're actually purchasing cards, at what stage of the game that it's in. Whenever you're at 60 honor, just starting out and everything, you can afford to buy the cards that provide less honor at the end of the game. Something like the All-Seeing Eye is really spectacular, but once you get down to around 30 honor or so, you're not really going to want to buy the All-Seeing Eye anymore, because you're usually just going to get a card or two out of it. Actually, let's go ahead and leave that there, and we'll get rid of the Demon Slayer. I might potentially be able to beat that Corrosive Whittle. Let's see, there's nothing in the center row that costs 3 runes, so pretty much forced to defeat that first. And this is Marasma that I was talking about. This is definitely the most powerful card overall on a sheer power level in Chronicles of Godslayer. So usually if this pops up within like the first 3 turns or something like that, I pretty much buy nothing but Mystics to increase my chance of actually being able to buy this. I know I don't want to use that Militia, so I'm going to go ahead and discard it. Alright, and we actually have a few choices here, since you can see that there's 2 honor left in the game that is almost over here. Of course I can buy the Cetra or the Marasma. It's not really too appealing right now though, because they're only actually worth 4 honor, and I'm looking to collect as much as possible at the moment. So that's why I'm going to go with the Rocket Courier. It gives me 4 honor, and it's only costing 4 runes. That way I can actually purchase something else. And here I'm actually going to go with the twofold, and potentially something with 1 casting cost might actually pop up, and I might be able to purchase it. It was definitely a pretty good last turn for the opponent. And as you can see, I actually did end up losing that game. Looking through my deck right here, it doesn't really look that spectacular, and looking through my deck is not actually what I meant, is the opponent's. I thought I was doing pretty well that game. Apparently not. I guess I got a little sidetracked from actually discussing the strategy. But that's definitely okay. And hopefully I'll have some videos of playing live action against other opponents in the future here for you. And until next time, hope you enjoyed the video. You have a good day.